about 40 minutes drive from the auberge, north, and discuss this feature shortly.
Gather here, please. Gather here, everyone. Yeah, you go first. The yellow one. The reason I stopped here is firstly to notice flat desert.
Yes.
That is a black stony desert. The stones are polished by the sand. We crossed another area with white stones. That is a white stony desert. Easy to find meteorites because they are black and the desert is white. In our back, a special section. You see that the mountain goes left and right, but in the middle, that is a spectacular picture, which is unusual. On our left is a fault. Then we have these cones. That is called, two names in publications. It's called kes because we cook couscous in a pot with vegetables, and another cone, another shape, in a cone shape to put on top. So we fill it with the couscous and the smoke goes through. If we reverse it, it's just the shape of these cones. We call them kiskes, but another name is hamar lakhdad. Hamar is red, lakhdad is the top of the bag, because this mountain is like a giant animal, legendary animal, and on the top of it, it's red. Hamar lakhdad. In any case, that is Devonian, and if you search on Google, green eye Devonian trilobites, you will have this picture with a map on PDF, a Swiss Christian Gluck published about it, green eye Devonian trilobites.
So, the white or light coloured bed that you can see dipping down to the left is the fault scarp that Mohan mentioned, and it's really a very, very obvious fault, and the surface that's to the left of it is the same surface that is at a lower level with all of the so-called mud mounds on it. If you have a look at those mud mounds and start to count them, I think there's somewhere between 25 and 30 of the mud mounds. Some of them are very large, some of them are rather small, and you have to think about why these mound-like structures exist, because in between the mud mounds you're looking at a flat bedding plane, and it's the same bedding plane that's on the left side of the fault scarp. But if you follow that bedding plane, it actually becomes the surface of the mud mound. Yeah? Now the limestone is a very, very fine grained limestone. It's a micrite, and it's made because of hot water that is migrating from depth up to the surface, and it's causing the precipitation of carbonate mud onto the sea floor, and it eventually builds up like some sort of great big mud volcano. If you were able to climb to the top of them, and you can, but it's not easy, when you get to the top you find that the limestone there is quite brecciated and full of calcite and stuff like that, and this is where hot brines were coming up from water at depth. You'll notice that they are all on the east side of the fault, not on the west side. So the conduit for water is probably coming from the fault at depth, coming to some sort of aquiclude and being directed onto one side of the fault. Why is there hot water? Well, what you can't see from here is that on the other side there is a sequence that is exposed, because here you're looking actually at a dip slope, the strata are dipping down towards you. But on the other side, you've got an escarpment that allows you to see the stratigraphy. And on the other side, there is a valley, and the stratigraphy goes down from these limestones into the Silurian, and it has the layers with the crinoids, and it has the layers with the orthoceras, the black limestone. Yeah. So on the other side, it goes down into the Silurian. But within that sequence of sediments, there is a big volcanic sill of dolerite. I think, having climbed over it a few times, I think that it is polyphase, because it's actually quite thick, about 10 metres or more thick. It's lens-like, it doesn't go that far in that direction or very far in that direction. There's lots of spheroidal weathering on it. It's gritty, it's awful to climb, but the best fossils are actually above it, so you do have to climb it if you're on the other side. And I think that that is part of cooking up the water and driving the system.
And that's below the black limestone.
It's below. No. It's below the Devonian limestone that has the mud mounds on it.
Right.
But it's above the black limestone. The black limestone is Silurian.
Right.
And it's just sandwiched in between the Silurian and the Devonian. But it's an intrusive. Yeah. It's not a lava, so it's down there at depth, and it's cooking up the water that is then making the mud mounds.
And the polyphase meaning?
The polyphase meant that the sill was intruded, and the reason I say that is simply because when I was climbing over it and having a look at it, I came across what looked like chilled margins, and I thought, oh, that's odd, because there's some more dolerite above it. So I thought, so it was intruded again, I think. But I'm no igneous petrologist, so if there is an igneous petrologist here, there's a nice little project for you on the other side of the mountain. But anywhere else in the world that has mud mounds quite like this, we are here in the Tafilalt Basin. A long way over there is another sedimentary basin with Paleozoics in it, called the Maida Basin, and there are some mud mounds in there. And I don't know whether you know this, but I think, but I've never read it, but there is a village down there called Hassi El Begar, and I always go to Hassi El Begar because there's some beautiful kem down there. But as you drive from the village to the kem, on the left-hand side, on the east side of the track, there is a mountain, sits up on its own, and on one side of it, it's got what I think are mud mounds. But I've yet to go over and go and check it out. Have you heard of that?
I saw that. I suspected, but I've never been there. But the ones in Maida in Maharsh, yes.
You've been to those ones?
Yes, in Maharsh, yes. But the towers I go close to the kem. I've never.
No, you've not been to those.
No.
Well, Mohammed in the village, he said that when I come down next time, he'll take me over there and we'll go and have a look at them.
Next time.
To this, flat top to this, is because the kem went over the top and it's been eroded off. And if you climb up to the top, and you can do because I've done it, and you walk along, you will find cracks and fissures, lots of them filled with calcite that are to do with sort of the hot water and the mud mounds and all that, but also some fissuring that is filled with red mud, extremely fine red mud, and that is filtered down from when the kem was on top of it. In a few places, if you go onto these plateaus, you will find some what we call resistate, and occasionally the bottom of the kem had some silicification, and everything else has washed away, but the silicified pieces remain behind, and you can pick up this regolith with these bits of silicified kem in it, and lots of those plateaus have that. So elsewhere, the Paleozoics have got nice pointy mountains, and presumably the kem group did not go over those. They would be sticking up as the topography of the kem river system. But in a few places, the Kem River system had actually eroded. Well, actually, not just the Kem River system. They were made. This lot was made into mountains post-Carboniferous. Yeah, that Hercynian orogeny, and so quite a lot of it was being eroded flat since then. But the Cretaceous then transgressed onto this. As you go through.
Well, some spectacular geology. The rest of the group catching up. So the big fault zone, and then swinging round the dipping surface here would have been the original seabed, tilted now, and that is a hydrothermal mound, conical mound that it's changed its shape in the past, in the middle of the frame there. So later hydrothermal activity giving rise to the conical mound. We're going to go over to the one of the mounds over here, which has some good fossils.
Basement of southern Britain. Yeah. Once you start to open up the Atlantic, then you get differential movement along reactivated Hercynian thrust.
Which is the Purbeck Crumple.
And the Purbeck Crumple is one of your classics. And they actually go all the way into North France and into Belgium. And the North Somerset coast is a part of that deformation. And it just occurred to me that every time the Atlantic opens, actually this one looks pretty damn symmetrical, but actually we're looking at the steepened side because it's on this dipping surface. If you climb up around the other side, you can quite easily climb up to the top. And if you look at the top, there isn't a great big hole. You're not looking down into a volcano and see a load of magma at the bottom. It's actually all solid limestone, but it is actually shot with calcite veins and things. If you go on the other side, can you see that there is some strata which is very, very nicely bedded, and you can see a gap? Yeah. Well, the really cool thing to do is wedge yourself in that gap. And once you're nice and securely wedged, is scrape through the dust, and you will find all of the bones that the owls have used as a roost. Yes. And you can pick up the decayed remains of the owl's regurgitates, the owl pellets. Yes, yes. And it's full of the little jaws of any rodent that dare run around here, and snakes and lizards. And you can get a real idea of the fauna of the last 50 years or so, because all of these bones are all lying there, all desiccated. And the last time we collected a couple of Tupperware tubs full of all these things, and we've now got a student waiting to do it for their master's project.
So hydrothermal carbonate mounds. This one, the steeper slopes are probably about 30, maybe 50 metres before you get into the scree.
I'm gathering you don't have to go up here, David.
Happy geologists.
Anything you didn't feel comfortable with?
Oh, I'd be very happy getting up there, but unless we were going beyond, I wouldn't like coming down from there.
I don't like going down at all. It's worse going down than it is.
Absolutely
And
right.
it does your knee in more going down than going up. Desperate to earn a crust.
Absolutely. Yeah, so good. And that for the foreseeable future, they'll continue to do that. Oh, that's a pretty pattern. It's not a pretty pattern. It is the